Welcome to College Panel. Tonight's webinar is hosted by Nighthouse Education Center, the Briarwood School, as well as the International Dyslexia Association. My name is Jenny Shonsby, and I am a family support coordinator over at Nighthouse. This evening, we have 5 wonderful, bright college students who were gracious enough to come speak with us tonight about their experiences so far in college. Our moderator tonight is Tony Lesors, who is a counselor over at the Briarwood School. All right, just in case you didn't know, Nighthouse is a nonprofit organization that provides some evidence-based training and mentoring for educators and dyslexia therapists. We provide information and resources for families affected by dyslexia, and we also offer adult literacy classes. If you need any more information on any of those areas, please feel free to contact us at nighthousefso@nighthouse.org if you're interested in any of those services. So some of our upcoming events include our monthly information session. We do these one Wednesday and one Saturday every month at 10 in the morning. On February 19th, we are having a virtual dyslexia simulation that allows you to experience what it can feel like to have dyslexia in a typical classroom. Dyslexia 101 is February 25th. That provides more information about what it takes to learn how to read, and then helps explain why some people struggle with that. And it also talks about how dyslexia is identified. Dyslexia 201 is going to be March 4th. This is kind of an interactive experience that shows you kind of an example of what students do in a typical dyslexia intervention session. So you can register for all of these events on our website. Just go to our website, nighthouse.org, and click on the Family Support Events. We are also having a special live event at our building in Bel Air on February 5th at 7 in the evening. This presentation is all about developing those executive function skills in students. The presenter is Evan Weinberger, who is the head of the organization Staying Ahead of the Game. Evan is a great speaker, and he's going to present some solid science-based tips and strategies for parents to encourage that ongoing development of various essential executive function skills for students, particularly those with dyslexia and other learning differences. So one of our other hosts tonight is the Houston branch of the International Dyslexia Association. Its current president, Mallory Latanza, is going to give you a little information on what they do and why you might want to become a member. Mallory is also the director of the admissions, at the Briarwood School, and she will also speak on that as well. And then she is going to introduce you to tonight's moderator, her colleague, Tony Lesors. All right, Mallory, take it away.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and welcome everyone. So yes, I'm Mallory Latanzi. I am both the new current president of the Houston Branch International Dyslexia Association. So you see on the screen that we are here to support the community, and we provide information, we do advocacy, we host professional development events. We have rebranded. So if you're familiar with us, now you see our little spaceman. We have not yet given him a name. And so we'd ask for you to check out our website. We will drop it in the chat as well, but you'll see it's just houstonida.org. Registration should be up next week for our spring conference, which is in March, and information for save the date for our fall. But definitely check us out. We're also have a t-shirt fundraiser with our new logo on it. So come check us out. And as Jenny said, I am also the director of admissions for the Briarwood School. So we are a K through 12 school, and we support mostly kids with learning differences like dyslexia. And so we encourage you to learn more about us. We'll put in the chat our website. We have tours throughout the year. So we'd love for you to tour our school and learn more. And you'll get to meet myself and even Tony in person and learn, especially for those who are in upper school or looking to get that support for upper school. We are definitely going to be setting you up for success. And Tony is definitely going to tell you more about that. But if you're interested in Briarwood, it's just briarwoodschool.org. We'd love to have you and answer any of your questions. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce my colleague, Tony. She is one of the reasons why our kids stay through 12th grade. The support that she provides and the necessary support, I like to say, to be successful beyond Briarwood. She is our counselor for middle and upper school. So take it away, Tony. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mallory. That was a great compliment. Um, our upper school is, I love it. It is designed to help our students who could possibly mainstream to other schools, but who choose to stay because of the remediation that we do. About 80% of our upper school students have dyslexia, along with other learning differences, but they could leave because we prepare them to do so, but they stay for the small class sizes. Our school follows the TEKS, so they get the same education that they would get at other schools, but we don't have a class over 10 for the most part. I think we have a couple with 11, but for the most part, 8 to 10. One-on-one instruction if they need it, and one-on-one tutorials if they need it with their instructors. And you're just not going to get that at a really big school. In addition to that, there is free tutoring with their own teachers, so you don't need to go outside for that. And then the college prep that we do, I work with each student beginning sophomore year, but really in their junior year, one-on-one with their families, working on whatever they plan to do. I am a true believer that whatever the student wants to do and get behind, that's what we should do. And so I help them get to the college that they want. We do ACT workshops and so forth to help them get in. And so I've sat down and done applications, done Common App, whether Texas Apply, what have you. So I do think that is a benefit, and I do think hopefully my students, former students, feel that way. I love that part of my job, and love seeing them do what they set out to do. So without further ado, as Mallory just said, we're going to let our panelists introduce themselves. They're going to tell you their name, what school they're at, what their LD is, and what they're majoring in. And so, panelists, if you guys would come off mute, please. And I'm going to start with who's on my screen first. And Ellen, that is you.
Hi, my name is Ellen Jones, and I go to Texas Women's University, and I have dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and dyslexia. And my major is child development, emphasis in child life.
Okay. Keaton, you're next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Keaton Lessner. I go to McMurray University in Abilene, Texas. I am majoring in kinesiology and minoring in sociology, and I have dyslexia and ADHD.
Thank you. Brooke, you are next on my screen.
Hi, my name is Brooke Nauman. I go to Blackburn College in Illinois. I am dyslexic and I have ADHD. I'm a junior and I'm majoring in art, minoring in graphic design, art history, and marketing communications.
Wow. Brandon, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Brandon Walker. I go to the University of North Texas. I have autism, dyslexia, dysgraphia, and ADD, and I am currently majoring in computer science.
Okay, and Niels?
Hi, I'm Niels Troplet. I go to Stevens Institute of Technology. I have dyslexia, and I'm majoring in naval engineering.
Okay. Great variety of schools. Who can tell me, and just speak out at random, who can tell me that they chose their school because of their LD program, or because of their major? I'm just curious.
I chose mine because of my major.
Because of your major? Keaton, what about you?
I chose mine for my major.
For your major. Okay. Brooke?
I chose mine because of the work you work for your tuition.
Okay.
So everyone on campus works, and when they work, they use what they're learning in school um to work to at the school. Yeah.
Okay. Niels?
I chose my school based off of my major.
Your major. And Brandon?
I chose my school for a variety of reasons, mostly my major, but also the cost of tuition and
Okay.
just the location of the school. I think Denton is a great place for people who want to go to college. It's a pretty small town, but there's a growing community in it.
Okay. I was hoping you all answered the way you did because I want those that are watching our webinar to know that most students don't pick colleges based on their LD, right? Or the LD program that they may offer. That is, you're hoping, a bonus when you get there. And so let's talk a little bit about the LD services that each of your school has. Keaton, tell me a little bit about McMurray. What does it offer you as a student with a learning difference?
Well, it offers me a lot of what Briarwood offers a lot of the high school students. They offer a scribe, they offer for you to have the notes of the professors, they offer you full time or time and a half. A lot of the things that accommodations that I need for to succeed in college, I gain at McMurray, like I
And
would
did
get
you
at Briarwood.
And did you have to register with them with like your psychoeducational testing and other
Yes, ma'am.
documentation?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Brandon, what did you have to do to register with your LD services?
Well, my LD services at UNT is called the Office of Disability Access, or the ODA. During the summer of 23, when I was applying to UNT, I had to meet with my advisor, and I scheduled a meeting where we would talk about my LDs and what I would need from UNT in terms of classwork and exams. And they gave me a list of what all I would be able to have. And then every semester, I would have to fill out a form that would tell me what I would be allowed to have in the class and what I would be able to have outside of class to help me towards my success in my classes.
Okay. Niels?
My school has an office of disabilities, and all I had to do, I submitted my FIE and IEP to them, and they gave me any accommodation I requested. Didn't request anything else besides accommodations. So that's, yeah.
What kind of accommodations are you
I
receiving?
requested like extended test times, and that's really the only one I use. I also have like calculation aids for math classes, which is just for a function calculator, which honestly becomes like almost useless because don't need a calculator anymore at some point in math for engineering. And then that's about it, really. That's all I use. I think I have one more, but obviously I don't even use it. I forgot what it was. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But they gave you what you asked for.
They gave me what I asked for, and they said if you need anything else, just ask for it. And I have to reapply for my accommodations every semester, and it's very simple to do. It's like
Okay.
3 buttons on a website.
Okay.
But yeah.
Ellen?
For me, we have DSS, and they are like in a separate building, and they give me my double time because I get double time on tests and quizzes. And then they also give me help with writing papers. And they also, I'm allowed to have a note taker if I need it, which I don't really use it. The only accommodation that I use is my double time on tests, and that's about it.
Does anyone use a quiet room to take tests?
I
Um,
do.
yeah,
Brandon, you
I
do.
do.
Mhm.
Keaton does. Neil, you do.
I do, but it's just like they just put me in a room. I don't request it. Just how it ends up at my school, I guess.
Okay. All right. Ellen, do you take tests in a quiet room or you take it in the classroom when it's given?
Um, so majority of my tests and exams are online. But for my elementary to statistics class last semester, I didn't use it just because she would answer questions that any of the students would have in class during the exams. And if I was in the room by myself, I wouldn't get that. So
Okay.
I would just stay in the class and I usually finished every exam in a lot of time.
Okay. So pretty much you're all getting the accommodations
Um,
you're used to. Brooke, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do get help with testing. I do get outside of the class, so I'm in just a small room, but I also get read to. I have a accommodation to get read to, so
Okay.
the questions and the answers they get read to me.
So by having a reader, does that give you more time or you still have a reader within the time?
I get more time.
You get more time. Okay. Um, what was, oh, so you basically all had to submit documentation. Ellen, you didn't tell me, or Keaton, you didn't tell me. Do you guys have to reapply like they said every semester?
I have to reapply every semester.
Okay, every semester.
Every semester I just click a button. But
Okay.
this year they started to automatically send it out, so all my professors automatically have it now. I just need to go into the website and click double time and all that stuff.
Okay, that was my next question, Ellen. How do you tell your professors or do the support programs do it for you? And so you said they send out a letter and let your professors know.
When you go into the DSS website and you do the accommodations and all the forms for that, it automatically sends to the professors. But I usually, they know they have it in their file. And they you can tell them, but DSS tells them anyway, and it should automatically say I was taking an English exam. It automatically would double my time. I wouldn't
Okay.
have to ask the professor to double it.
Or
But I
remind
did
you.
have an instance where I did not get my double time. And so I had to email the professor saying, "Hey, I didn't get my double time. Am I allowed to retake this exam?" And he did.
Okay. Keaton, do you have to tell your professors or does the learning support do it for you?
The learning support, the disability services do for me, but I love to go to the professors and introduce myself and tell them my disability and this is what I need and where to find what I need to be able to give it to me.
Okay. Brooke, do you tell them or do they do it for you?
I do tell them. I request a meeting with each of my professors and explain to them exactly what I need. And yes, I do need to remind them a lot. I found that out this year. Because I don't get if you don't remind the professors, sometimes they forget, especially if you have extended homework.
Okay.
um you need to say, hey, I'm not finished, I have an extra day, or I would like to use my extended extra day. So
So you get extended time even on your homework.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Especially the written homework, the ones that are really long.
Okay.
Mhm.
Brandon, do you tell them or does the service do it?
Both.
Both.
The office sends an email to them telling them what all accommodations I have, but I usually like to follow up with my professors and give them more specifics. Like I have an accommodation that gives me preferential seating in class,
Okay.
so I get to choose where I sit in class. And sometimes I just say, hey, I like to sit in the front. If there's ever a day when I'm running late or something and there's just a lot of seats taken, could I be able to sit in the front?
Okay. So you do it both. Niels, what about you?
So my school, I reapplied for my accommodations every semester. And when I do that, I have to enter in all of my professors' names and email addresses, as well as any of my teaching assistants, which are like during my recitation periods. But that isn't really as big as a deal because the professors still control all the assignments for those periods. But when I enter them in, the Office of Disabilities will send out my accommodations to every single professor and let them know. The thing is I guess it's against the law that they can't tell the professors what my disability is because I never signed any papers allowing them to do that. So I go in and email all my professors at the beginning of the semester. It's an easy copy and paste email and just send it out to the same list I send the Office of Disabilities, explaining what dyslexia is, because even though they're mathematicians and physicists, they don't know what dyslexia is. And some of them read it, some of them probably don't read it. But I just like to give the opportunity to try to get to know the professors. And I have had like issues getting some accommodations sometimes, but really it's just like a communication issue and it's all sorted out very quickly. You just like have to say something about it because accommodations do not work retroactively. You can't say, for example, if you submit, which happens a lot at my school, if you submit your paperwork or your request for your next semester, like 3 weeks into the semester, those first 3 weeks, those accommodations do not like count.
Okay.
Like, and the school can't do anything about that. Like, you don't
So
get
you
them.
got to stay on top of
So
it.
you have to submit it, and you know they open it up like months before the semester starts. So there's really no excuse. But nobody's gonna be. They'll send out you like one email to remind you. Nobody's gonna be like really holding your hand to do that though. So
Okay.
Yeah.
How many is your learning support included with tuition or a separate cost on top of tuition? Brandon,
Mine's included.
included. Ellen,
Mine's included.
Keaton,
Mine is included.
included. Brooke,
Included. Mhm.
included. And Niels?
Yeah, mine's included in my tuition.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that too for those watching. So tell me what you do about your executive functioning thing. Like, how many of you have a planner or do you use your phone? Tell me a little bit about the transition from high school, where I know at Briarwood we make you carry a planner, we make you carry a binder so that you keep everything organized. But now that you're all adulting, tell me what you do to stay organized. Brandon, let's start with you.
I do have a planner. In freshman year, I wrote everything down every day. I would have a little monthly um, tab, and then I would have a daily tab that told me what all I needed to do that day. And then as I went on, I started getting more lazier and I just started writing everything in my phone in my notes app. And that honestly worked very well for me. I usually have a little quota that I like to fill out every day of what needs to get done today so that I can make tomorrow an easier day. And
Okay.
that's usually how I get my work done.
Does your notes in your phone give you reminders like paper due today, paper due tomorrow, or what have you?
No, I use the reminders app for that. I'll
Okay.
just put it in and then I'll put a time and a date and I can also say how important the task is that needs to be done and I can have little priority checks on it.
Okay. So you use reminder app. Thank you. Brooke, what do you do?
I use Google Calendar. It is actually required with my school to use Google Calendar. Because of our work experience, we have to have a schedule when we're working and when we have classes. So our bosses know when we have classes, then we won't be scheduled over classes. So it's required to have everything written down in Google Classroom.
Okay.
Mhm.
Keaton, what are you using?
So my school has this app called Canvas that has all of our classes put down on the app, and it when the professor gives us an assignment, it puts it in on our calendar and we get reminders about it. I use that regularly, but I also create my own calendar about what I need to get done for like the month or the 2 months or 3 months in advance to make sure that I get ahead of the curve so that
Are
I'm
you
not
using
behind and I'm not.
I was going to say, are you using a written calendar for your own calendar or a planner, or are you doing it on your phone?
Oh, I'm doing it. I write it on a
You write it
calendar.
down.
I have it.
Okay.
I have it on my desk back at college.
Okay. Ellen, what do you do?
I also have Canvas and I have all my assignments. It sends out notifications to me when my assignments are due, and I have on um Chrome, I have set an extension where I can set it to remind me like 4 days in advance, and so I do it 4 days in advance instead of the day of, which I have done that before, but that's okay. And it also syncs to your Google Calendar, so I have it all on my Google Calendar. And so I don't write it in the planner. That did not work for me. Tried
Okay.
it didn't work. So
Okay.
I just have it all on my electronics.
And you are not dyslexic, correct?
I am dyslexic.
You are dyslexic. Okay, I was thinking you were, and dysgraphia. Okay. Niels, what do you do?
I'm probably not the best person to look for advice for executive functioning, but my school uses Canvas. I think most universities do now. Some don't. There's so many extensions you can get for Canvas. I have like a task to do extension. I think it's kind of the most popular one. I think you were talking about it earlier. You can like set yourself reminders on it and everything.
Are you talking about
Canvas
Better
like
Canvas?
Canvas just destroys my email inbox, like absolutely. Like
With all the
it sends out
notifications.
so many reminders that they just like become white noise. So I use the extension to make it visually like a lot better for me. But
Okay.
the problem with that I really dislike is that like professors will use Canvas and then they'll also use something else and that isn't connected to Canvas. And that stuff is like the good thing is like every time I've gotten something like that, it's recurring. So hey, there's going to be an assignment every Wednesday for the rest of the semester. So like that's pretty easy. Like this is how I operate, which is why I say don't listen to me. But I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday, it's time to do that assignment.
Okay.
And then like other professors will have like large assignments that are like homework assignments. Like I have like I had like to take a business class for engineering, which was like, I guess, I don't know. I didn't see how it was relevant to my degree, but those assignments took like super long. So I'd have to start them like 4 days before the due date. Otherwise, there's no chance of getting it in time.
4 days is considered a long time, Neil?
Well, like, yeah, we get all of our assignments at the beginning of the year in the syllabus. But like a homework assignment usually takes me about like 2 to 3 hours maximum.
Okay.
So like the
So you have
7 hour
it in your,
assignments I was getting for my business class that just took so long and that were like very boring. Um, those like I would have to break up into multiple days, and all my friends had the same homework assignment, so it was like a team effort at the end of the day. But
okay.
otherwise, yeah, that Chrome extension and the recurring assignments. And I would do my assignments like I'd block out like the week of any like particular exam, and I'd probably block out like depending on how stressed I was about the exam, I'd do all my homework so I didn't have to worry about it
Okay.
for that week, so I could study on that exam. And
Okay.
I find like studying is extremely important, especially with my friends.
I was going to
Yeah.
ask, how much reading are you guys doing, would you say, a week? Briarwood students, I need you to be like, how many pages? Because you guys know how things are assigned at Briarwood. So tell me, um, in comparison, how many pages would you say you are reading a week? Ellen?
It depends on the class. Like for my class for this semester, I have an assignment due in like actually 5 days, and I'm supposed to read like 40 pages.
Okay, so 40, that's not bad for that one assignment.
for that one assignment.
So
For-
how
I would-
many, I want your whole, so you're carrying 12 hours, correct?
I'm carrying 15.
15 hours. So how much reading would you say you are doing in a week?
Oh gosh.
200, 400 pages?
Between 200 and 600 pages a week.
Okay. Keaton?
Yeah, 400 to 600 pages.
A week. Okay. Brooke?
Yes, ma'am.
I agree with that.
Between 400 and 600 pages a week?
Yes.
Okay. And Brandon?
Not that many. I'd say it usually averages at about 100 for me.
Okay. Is that because of your major?
Yeah, I would
okay.
say so. Because I took
many-
about 15 hours last
taking
semester
15
and I
hours.
wasn't reading more than 100 a week.
100 though. Okay. Niels, how many pages a week are you reading?
Maybe like 15. I just do a lot of math. I have like
Okay.
4 math classes and like 5 physics classes and
Okay, so
20
you're
I'm
more-
on 20 credit hours right now.
Okay. And
Each
how
semester.
how many math
Pages I write out
Yes.
like full
Yes.
of math like I've done a problem that's taken up like 7 pages of just like small handwriting.
One problem.
One problem. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's crazy.
So-
It'll take me hours to do it. But I've filled up notebooks with them, and I've had like I went through like 4 my first semester, and then I got like a pencil for my iPad, so now it's all digital. So and I take like notes in lecture because otherwise I'm gonna forget everything.
Okay. But
I never look back at my notes, I'm gonna be honest. I just
but you're
helps
not
me.
reading as many pages as the others.
No, my professors will say like, "Hey, here's like a textbook that has great information." I'll be like, "No, I'm watching the Khan Academy video." Like,
Okay.
I'm figuring it out some other way because I just don't like reading. And
How many of you are reading textbooks or are you reading PDFs? Ellen?
Depends on the professor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keaton? Same?
I do both. It depends on the professor.
Okay. Brooke?
Yes, both.
Both?
Mhm.
Brandon?
PDFs. Professors will not make me buy a textbook if I don't have to. I had a
Okay.
biology professor who gave me a free PDF online, says, don't pay $100 for this textbook. Just go to this link.
Okay. And Niels, you're doing mostly math, so I'm assuming it's books.
Yeah, I'll get like there's like 2 ways my professors will do it. They'll either be like, "Hey, you need this textbook," and then you don't need it. So
Okay.
just wait a second before you buy it. And if you do need it, they're definitely like ask the class above you. They definitely have it. And the only reason you would absolutely need it is if there's problems in the textbook, like practice problems.
Okay.
And those I'll do. And all you need is the problems. You just submit the problems. You don't need to submit any of the textbooks. So I'll just get
Okay.
that from my friends. But I don't actually like read the textbook part. I'll rather just
Do the
everything's
problem.
on YouTube, you know, like everything. You can learn anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Papers, syllabuses. Do you read your syllabuses thoroughly? Do you hang on to them and refer back to them frequently? Brooke, tell me about syllabuses.
Syllabus are very important. You need to know when those tests are because you have to give them a heads up that you're going to be taking a test in the library or something and plan that. So you have to be up it. It's your life, the syllabus.
Okay. Keaton, syllabuses. Do you keep them, read them, you go through them?
Well, I keep them until I finish the syllabus quiz, and then because majority of my professors last semester told me, don't worry about the syllabus. I've changed it, so because a
Okay.
lot
And
of them they just did what they wanted.
okay. Keaton, tell me about syllabuses.
I keep my syllabuses. A lot of my professors stay with the syllabuses unless it's a elective class. They kind of go off of whatever they want sometimes. But I usually go over my syllabus like about twice or three times a month to
Okay.
make sure I'm on track.
Okay. Brandon?
I will say the syllabus is your Bible for the class. You follow that thing religiously because most of the time it will be correct unless a professor says randomly in class, "Hey, we're moving. We're changing the schedule up. We're a little behind, so we're gonna cut some sections." Besides that, nothing has really changed for me
Okay.
because you have your grading rubric and they usually put down everything you're doing every day for the semester include and
Okay.
yeah, you have to um register for your exams and all that with your disability office if you want to take them elsewhere.
So you need the syllabus to keep track of all of that.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And obviously, I'm trying to prove a point for our seniors that may be watching that reading your syllabuses are vitally important. And Niels, I'm assuming syllabuses are important
Oh
for
yeah.
take.
Syllabuses, I suggest download them because my professor once like just removed it from my campus page and it's like this is too much work. Like in my school they have to follow their syllabus.
So
And
they
if they
can't.
don't, they have to send out an amendment to the syllabus. Like it's the like basically the law at my school. If they don't, they'll you can like honor board them basically and they'll like go to court or whatever. I don't even know.
Okay.
But the important things I
They
look
are
for,
important to you.
yeah, in my syllabus, the most important things are one is the grading scale. They'll either be the school's grading scale, which is like just the suggested one, or the professor will do it differently, usually like more lenient. Like my math professors will like allow an A plus from like a 90 to 95 and then an A minus from 95 to 80. And
Okay.
then so instead of like the 92 and above for an A usually. Um,
So you follow them
but
for to make
so the grading
great.
scale, there's going to be a tentative schedule in it. It doesn't have my final exam dates because that's determined by the Office of Register, which will put those dates out later. But you know what week they are. It'll tell you all your other exam dates and which quizzes you have. It'll tell you like which textbook sections each quiz is about, which is always
Okay.
helpful. It'll
So
tell you
it's
like
very
everything is
detailed.
like very laid out and very clear. And if it isn't, then the professor's gonna have a hard time because all the students are gonna be like, "But the syllabus says," and
Okay,
then
I get that.
you won't be alone in that. So
Brooke, you had your hand up. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, it was already said, it's like the law that you have in at my school that you have to have everything on the syllabus and it has to be correct. If it's not, it's just that's not what they're gonna get in serious trouble if it's not.
Okay,
They can change it, they just have to make sure everyone knows.
everybody knows it. Okay,
Yes.
I
Mhm.
get that. Who's living on campus? Ellen, are you on campus?
Yes.
Keaton, you're on campus. Brooke, are you on campus?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Brooke,
No,
are you?
no,
No.
I'm not. Mm-mm.
Brandon, are you?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Niels,
Yeah.
are you on campus?
not anymore.
Okay. Um, has anyone joined some other organization or group to be social? Tell me what y'all are
Yes.
doing to
I
be
have.
social. Brandon, what are you doing?
I started off with the Honors College, and it has a lot of great benefits. One of them is actually you get to register for classes about a week before the entire university even gets to. Like you even get to register before graduate students and seniors, which is really nice, especially for competitive classes like labs that will only take in 20 people. I'll be
Okay.
up at 7 in the morning, but I also, for social stuff, I attend Pokemon Club and I get to meet a lot of great people there. It's just a great
Okay.
time to debrief on Friday nights.
Okay. Ellen, what are you doing?
I'm in the honors program, and so we do like our first year retreat for my freshman year. We went on a we went around the Denton Square and we went to find letters that spelled out Beth Marie's, which is our local ice cream place, which is really good if you come. And we do fun things like that. It's just like a fun place to just kind of talk to your friends, and then yeah, I love it.
Okay. Keaton, what are you doing socially? What are you doing to get?
Um, Sorry, I'm in the honors program as well. We do a lot of monthly dinners and we catch up and we talk about stuff. Um, like what we're doing, like what's hard, what's easy. Like it's a really good way to connect with somebody who's struggling as well. I'm also in a sorority. Um, I'm really social in that. I've made a lot of friends through that, and I also am in intramurals as
Okay,
well.
so I was gonna say, who's playing sports? Brooke, what are you doing for social time? What do you?
So I don't have specific groups. Everyone really in the school does everything together because it's so small. We do have specific clubs. We have dance, theater, sports, intramurals, what else? A whole bunch. We have a whole bunch. And we have a student success center that does a whole bunch of stuff. We can go to the local Fox Theater, which is really cool. It's in Illinois. Um, it's St. Louis, my bad. And where we get to see actual Broadway shows for free. And we have like we go to skating rinks. There's like ice 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 rinks came to our school. So we have like things to do even though it's so small. Oh, we have this thing called Platinum Bingo that each semester we have it to where there's a card you get. There's different little slots. So there I don't know how many there are, maybe 10. But each time you go to a student life, which is called student life, event, you get a sticker. And once you fill out the whole card, you get 2 bingo cards. And then again, you can do it again and get 3, 4, and 5. It depends on how many social events you've gone to.
And is
And
it
at
once a
the
month you play the bingo?
what?
You do the bingo once a month, or
Yes. And the thing about this bingo, once a semester, once a
once a
semester.
semester?
The thing about this bingo is you don't just win candy or anything. You can win a TV, an iPad, a computer, an Xbox, a another thing, PS5. I don't know what it's called. Sorry. You can win art supplies. You don't know what you're gonna win because it's all packaged. So you just draw a number and then whatever you
Whatever's in
get.
there.
Yeah.
Whatever's
So.
in. Okay, Niels, what are you doing socially?
I'm very active in the sailing club at Stevens. For those who don't know, Stevens Institute of Technology is actually in New Jersey on the Hudson River,
Okay.
separating New Jersey and Manhattan. So I'm out like sailing in front of the Empire State Building. It's absolutely stunning. And I like that we sail out of a little marina. And I got a job at that marina because, why not? Extra money sometimes. And I coach sailing to like office workers like twice a week, and they pay me like well for it. So
So you're all doing something social. I like that. You're not just studying, because I know some of your parents think that's all you should be doing, but having gone to college myself, I know that is not the case. So I'm glad you're all doing something social. That is really, really important. Um, Tell me a little bit about living in the dorms for those of you, because it sounds like you all started off in the dorms. I know some of you are not living there now. But for our new students that'll be going this upcoming fall, tell me a little bit about dorm life. Is it worth it to meet people? Like, let me hear the positives as well, but tell me about dorm life. Keaton, let's start with you.
It is definitely an interesting experience. And I found it really good because I met a lot of my friends in my dorm hall. There are good and bad about it. Like you learn and you can hear different things going on in the hallway that you usually don't get at the house, and you have to learn to how another person like lives. Because in my dorm, I share a bathroom. I have a suite mate, so I had to learn her schedule, and I had to learn my roommate's schedule. So it was an experience for me, especially like because I grew up having a roommate, my sister, and I shared a room, so it wasn't a big difference, but it was a difference learning somebody else's schedule.
'Cause your sister's your sister, but roommate is
Yes, true. It's
right.
true.
Brandon, tell me about your dorm life. How was
Oh,
it?
I loved it. Well, going to college, I knew nobody. I was going in completely blind. I didn't really have anybody I was going into college with, and UNT had a service that would they would ask us a bunch of questions and they would mix match us with a bunch of different options, and I matched with somebody and I talked with them and we decided we wanted to be roommates together. And then we had two suite mates who were a bit of oddballs, but we grew to each other, and now we're all living in an apartment together. And I'd say those guys feel like a second family to me. They're a great bunch, and I have been very blessed to have great roommates.
Good, good. I like to hear the good stories about dorm life. Ellen?
So my freshman year and my sophomore year, I've had a single room, but I am never in my room. I'm either in the library studying or in my neighbor's dorm room behind y'all. I'm in there majority of the day. They're like my two best friends. And I love the dorm. I like having my own space to sleep, but I like being with other people during the day.
Okay. Brooke?
So, I started out being I shared a room.
Okay.
And what's different about my college is kind of old fashioned. What is it called? It's like a communal, like girls' restroom.
Communal
So
bathroom?
we didn't have our suites. We don't have suites. But because of that, it's lowered the cost, and it's okay. And we so I shared a room with a roommate. I wasn't really close to my roommate, but the what I really liked about being in a dorm is there was these things called house cups. And this is again, they want you to go to events. When you go to a specific RD event, you get to sign your name and what dorm you're in. And so my dorm won when I was there, and we got to go to a special thing. Like we went to Six Flags.
So
So for free.
it
Yeah.
almost sounds kind of like Harry Potter with all the
Oh yeah, yeah.
the house cups.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so special.
That's
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
I mentioned to you guys when we did our tech rehearsal that I wanted to ask you something that has come up. I've had a few parents ask me, and I always talk about it with teachers, and that's AI. I know that some schools really frown upon you using AI to assist you, and some schools really encourage you to use AI for outline purposes to help you get started with a essay or what have you. So, twofold question. One, are you using AI in any way? And two, are you using the Writing Center to help you write, edit, and get your papers in your APA or AM, whatever you're using, MLA format? So give me a little bit about both. Brandon, let's start with you.
So my school is against AI. They will frown, well, not only frown upon it, but you could be at the risk of this expulsion if you are caught. But
Okay.
your professor has to report you, and then you go through a whole process. The thing is, professors know that you do it, and they will say, if you use AI, we will know, because they have a little thing on writing assignments that checks for AI and is usually pretty accurate. Um,
Are you allowed a certain percentage? Like some programs say this paper is 20% AI, 50%. Is there a percentage that you're allowed to use?
just whatever they feel like. I never really have a problem with it. Even if you don't use AI, I don't use AI to write my papers. But even without using AI, I still get about like 8, 9%. And professors
Right.
don't usually care about it. It's usually when it gets up to the upper half, like 60, 70 is when they start to really get in on that.
So they deem it as cheating?
Yes.
Okay. Ellen, what about Texas Women's?
Um, it really, so they don't like it for you to get your answers off of it. But for one of my professors for my psychology class slash semester, she was like, by all means, for your adjustment paper, use it. Like, don't use it to write your paper, but it has some good outlines that will help you writing an outline if you have trouble with it. I didn't really use it. But for math, I did use it and it gave me majority of the correct answers.
Okay.
But I would say be careful with it just because
It
just
could be
don't
cheating.
don't overuse it. Um one of my friends, she works in our writing center, and her professor did a research over if Turnitin, which is the program that our papers go through. Oh,
Mhm. Yeah, we lost Keaton. Oh, she's
oh,
coming
there
back.
she is. And her professor said that it's not accurate a lot of the time, which I thought was interesting because it's like it scares me when I turn in my paper. Like I try to find ways to like check it before I turn it in just to make
So that
sure.
you don't have those higher
Yeah,
percentages.
because it scares you. Like, oh my gosh, am I about to get plagiarized? Um,
Okay.
but yeah, it just be careful with it. That's what my school says.
Okay. And so you do use the Writing Center?
Yes.
Okay. Brandon, do you use the Writing Center?
I did, but I don't really. It's a student-run organization, so it's your other classmates are giving you advice on your papers, and I don't really agree with them a lot of the time.
Okay.
Like I'll have professors and I'll go meet with them during office hours and they'll say the paper looks good. And then I'll go to the writing center and right off the bat, whenever I'm starting to read it, they're asking me to change the littlest things.
Okay.
But they add context, but you don't need context, but it's a whole thing. So I
Okay.
stopped going after that.
I get that. Um, Brooke, do you use AI at all? And do you use the Writing Center?
I do use AI. They say it's mainly up to the professor. They will tell you if you could or could not. I mainly use it for structuring my writing.
Okay.
I have a very hard time doing that. It's if I if I don't use AI, it takes me just so long to do it,
Okay.
even with help. It I don't know. I just am very writing to me is really hard.
Okay.
So so I do use it, and I with the writing center, um, I used to use it more, but what I found was that they can only help me with editing. And what I need is the structure. I need help with that. I was not taught this in high school. So it's a struggle. Yeah.
All right. Niels, I say, Keaton, did I ask you already? Do you use the Writing Center and do you use AI?
I use the writing center as much as I can, but I also utilize my opportunities to go to the professors more often.
Okay.
Uh, like Brandon said, is also AI is frowned upon at McMurray, and it is considered cheating if I
Okay.
use it. So,
Niels, I saved you for last because you and I have talked about this before, and I think your school kind of says jump on it, right?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, my school says it's up to the professor. And if the professor doesn't like it, then don't. But like, I haven't had a single professor that hasn't allowed AI. My English professor said, like, first semester said, like, don't use it. Like, you're writing a paper, which makes sense.
But your
I guess I'll start with the writing center, because on those papers, it was the only professor where they would give us extra credit for going to the writing center. So I actually went to the writing center to get the extra credit, and I did not think it was helpful. But what I did find out is the writing center, what it could really help me with, and which I went back to, which was helpful, is not on my class assignments, but on writing job applications, cover letters, editing your resume, like, because they'll have like basically professional internship people there, like students who are paid that like are like crazy about networking and stuff, so they'll like be able to really help you with that, which is
So
great.
that's done at your writing center?
So that's all at my writing center, and they also have more people to help with that at the career center. But the writing center
that's
will
what I was
help
going
you.
to ask. They don't do it at the career center. They do it at
No,
both.
they do. The writing center staff are just really good at my school. So, but back to the AI thing is some of my professors are like, no, that I think that's like my only professor actually that didn't allow it. There's my other professors, for example, for engineering or actually for my chemistry classes was the biggest one. My professor straight up told us like, hey, like you have to write a lab report for every lab you do, but don't write the report. Just put all of your raw data into AI and make it write it for you, because I'm a chemistry teacher, not an English teacher. I just want to see what all the information you got is, and if you completed the lab correctly and did everything correctly. And so that was like the main, that saved so much time. Like I can't even imagine the students that had to write those lab reports out
before AI was created.
So like I literally like updated like Excel documents and all this stuff to AI, and it just generated my report, and it took like 5 minutes versus like hours. And it would and I'd go through it and I'd like re-edit it because I don't like it. But like I'd always read through it and double check everything.
Got it.
Also, AI is like a really helpful tool, which isn't against the honor code at all for to use in any class, is when you're using it to like learn. For example, if me and my friends are doing some math problems for practice for an exam and we don't understand one, we can upload it to AI, and it usually might, honestly, most of the time it gets the math completely wrong. But the great thing is all the steps are always correct in the AI. I don't know how it works, but that's just how it is. And if you get confused on a step, you just ask it about it and tell it to explain it to you. And this comes really helpful with my professors, because a lot of their math problems are pretty similar, from like problems they'll give out to problems on the exam, but they'll be like very unique to my university. So you won't find like a YouTube video explaining this exact type of problem, but like AI will know every single type of problem. So
let me ask you guys something else really quickly. How many of you are using APA, and who's using MLA? Ellen, what are you using?
It depends on the professor, but the majority of the time I'm using APA. But my philosophy professor last year, he didn't even say what formatting to do. So I just went to MLA because that's what I like to do. I kind of dislike APA. It's just
But the majority of your classes are APA.
Yes, correct.
Brooke, APA, MLA.
MLA.
MLA. Brandon?
It depends on the professor. I also don't really have many writing classes, so I'm pretty sure most of the time it's APA.
Okay. Keaton?
It depends on the professor as well for me.
Okay, so have you used both?
Yes, I've used both.
Okay, and Niels, what are you using?
My humanities classes will generally use MLA, and my science classes and math classes, which I've never written a paper for math, but they'll use APA.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's down to the professor.
Okay. I know, Laura, I know you're on here. Can you tell me what questions are in the chat that the kids may be able to answer?
I can read those for you.
Okay.
Okay, so we have someone asking, what advice could your teachers, maybe your senior year of high school, what could they have done to help better prepare you, or what did they do to help prepare you for college? Any, Brooke?
Brooke?
Make sure you get help with writing. Make sure
Yeah.
you know how to write. Your life is writing, and my life is. And I'm an art major. My life is writing basically. So you need to know how to write. And research papers, I do so much research papers. So
Okay.
learn how to write.
Learn how to write. Brandon, what would you say to that question?
I agree with Brooke. I would say writing is huge in college. I would also say a big difference between high school and college is the independence aspect of it. You have to tell yourself to do things you don't want to do, and that's very difficult to do a lot of the time. So without mom and dad or your teachers breathing down your neck telling you to finish your homework or you have a test coming up tomorrow, professors are not going to do that. They may tell you a week in advance, hey, I just put up the study guide. You have an exam next week. Best of luck. But besides that, you mostly have to remind yourself to get out of bed every morning and do the stuff you need to do.
Okay. Ellen?
I would have to say, say if you decide to procrastinate and your assignment goes late and you forget about it, or you just forget about it, the professor's not going to come say, "Oh, Ellen, you forgot your assignment. You need to turn it in." They're going to be like, "Oh, well, she forgot it. Big zero."
Mhm.
0. Okay. No more little reminders.
Nope.
Keaton? The question was, what would you want your
I would
senior?
say the same with
Right.
Go ahead. You would say the same as
okay, I would say the same with Brooke and Brandon about writing is really important. And the same with you're an adult and you're having to parent yourself and tell yourself what to do and when to do it and to be adult about it and not procrastinate like Ellen said.
okay. Niels? What could your senior teacher do to prepare you?
Um, One thing that I wish I learned in high school was how to find like scholarly sources. I've never like opened a research journal until I went to my school's library and figured out the website. So like I've never like didn't know how it was laid, any papers were laid out or anything. So just like understanding that would have been like helpful because that took me a lot of time. And
Okay.
time's really valuable. So, and then another thing is on the time aspect is like how to like learn efficiently, because in high school I felt like I learned very inefficiently. Like I was tethered to the rest of my classmates. Well, in college that's very much not the case. The professor will keep going no matter what point you are at in understanding any of the coursework. So being able to go back and learn on your own and figuring out how to learn on your own, which like nobody's holding your hand in college anymore. There might be some hand holding in high school where your teachers knows that, hey, like this exam looks out of place for what you usually do. In college nobody will say that. So like
A lot
then
more
that comes to
independent.
my third point, which is like self-advocacy, which I don't know if a teacher can teach you this, but just a great skill to have, because you need to recognize when you're like falling behind, and you need to be able to advocate for yourself to get back to a place that you need to be at.
I will
But yeah.
say at Briarwood, we do a lot of that. I think my Briarwood students on here can attest to that. We push self-advocacy a whole lot. Jenny, what other question is on there?
We have, do you use note-taking software or do you record lectures?
Okay. Brandon, do you use a note-taking software or do you record?
It depends on the class, but One of my accommodations is I get to record lectures. I just have to tell my professors, hey, can I record lectures? There's also other apps that will also record your professor speaking, and it will actually upload a lot of what they say and translate it into little flashcards.
Okay.
And it'll also write down important things they say, because sometimes they'll say, hey, sometimes this question will be on the exam, or exam is this date, or you will want to know this for a future assignment coming up. And just little tidbits like that, it'll catch that.
Does anyone use a smart pen? I'm just thinking about that really quick. Brooke, have you used a smart pen?
I use something similar.
Okay.
I use my iPad with the Notability.
Okay.
And it does record my notes. It records my notes and the lecture, and then I get like a summary after I used it.
Okay.
And I also wanted to mention I go to a liberal arts college, just to clarify why I
Okay.
have so much writing. Sorry.
Writing. Okay. Niels, do you use a smart pen?
Yeah, I use an Apple Pencil as well.
Okay.
I don't know, like it might be like awkward to use an iPad and an Apple Pencil in high school, but in college, like everybody and their mom has one. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I use like Notability is a great app. I use GoodNotes. It does the same thing. It'll record the lecture during your note taking, and when you replay it, it'll like put the handwriting in sync with the lecture, so you can see you physically taking notes in real time, but like
Okay.
recorded.
Ellen?
Yeah.
It depends, for whatever class I am taking. If it's more of like going over, my philosophy class was very reading based. Like we read 4 books last semester and they were all pretty lengthy. And so you would read the chapters before class and he would go over it, and that way I would record his lecture, and then when I would get back to the library or my dorm room or wherever I would be, I would listen to the lecture and write out important keynotes that he said.
Okay. Keaton?
A lot of my in my classes, a lot of my professors, when they do a lecture, they'll record them. So I'll go back over and I'll write out what they said that I think is important. I also take hand notes, or I'll type out notes if they're a really fast talker. I'll type out my notes.
Okay. What other question, Jenny?
Here's a good one. Any advice on your on college applications? Did you talk about your disabilities in your college app?
In the applications or in an
In
essay?
the applications, yeah.
Okay, I know for a fact some of them. Okay. Ellen, did you have to mention your disability in your application?
Not that I remember. I
I-
mean, you could, but you would do that like after, yes, you've been accepted, and then you would go to the DSS office and you would do it there. But I don't necessarily remember.
I
don't
I
think so.
remember, I mean, I just did applications with students, and I don't know of an application that requires you to do that. So I
Well,
really
not required, but would you talk about it?
I think most students choose, and my suggestion to them as their counselor is not to talk about it unless you're writing an essay, because you don't want the
Yeah,
student.
I think that's what they're talking about, like an
Yeah,
essay.
if you're writing an essay and that's what you want to use as your essay topic, to talk about your LD and how it affects you, that's a better place. But the actual application, absolutely not,
Yeah,
because
I think
you want
I
to
think
get
they
in
meant,
essay. That's why I was asking you, application or essay.
yeah.
Any other question on there?
Yeah. What do you do to reset when you get frustrated or you fail?
Ooh,
Oh,
Talked a little bit about it.
Ellen.
I, for me, math last semester was not the greatest. Um, and I would go to the gym and just sweat it out.
Workout. Okay. Brooke, has that happened?
Last year was last semester was the hardest year I've had. Tons of writing. So I would just cry it out, basically.
Try it
Yeah,
out.
It helps. It helps. But
Okay.
I definitely email your student success person and they'll help you.
Is there counseling in your student success?
Yeah, it's both student success and accessibility counselor.
Okay.
It's both. Mhm.
Okay. Brandon?
Yeah, last semester was rough. I had 15 credits, but I technically had 20 hours because they didn't really count recitations as a credit. So I was taking a lot of classes. And what I would do is I would usually, like Ellen said, working out is a great way to sweat off any stress. I also like spending time with my roommates. I would play Jackbox or Party just to decompress.
Impressed.
I would
Okay.
also cry.
Cry. Okay.
Yeah, that too.
Don't forget, y'all, there are counselors on campus. Keaton, what about you?
Um, for me, it's the same as Ellen said. I would go work out to just release all the tension, or I would go hang out with my friends. Definitely get off campus, get off like the where you're most stressed, and like go somewhere where you're less stressed. Like in Abilene, there's a lake that we go to. Me and my friends will go and we'll just like dance it off or something. Like it will just be goofy. Like you just need to get off the campus where you're stressed.
And reboot yourself. Niels, I'm assuming you go sailing.
Yeah, I love sailing. But like this past semester, I had to do like a hard reset at one point because it was like crazy.
What did you
Um,
do?
I had all of my exams for my entire time at my school have been like an 80% or above, which is exceptional for the school and the classes I'm taking. Then I took like a physics class. I think I got like a 4% on it. And that wasn't good. And then I got like really stressed out, and then I started like all my schoolwork got like everything became out of schedule, and it was like all really complicated. So I just like stopped and I took little baby steps to figure out like did one assignment at a time and slowly worked through everything until I like understood the full like scenario in my head. And when I understood like, oh, these are all the things I need to do, then it's like not as hard or intimidating.
Okay.
But
So
after that
resetting, like,
exam, the good thing was the professor took the same exam, and the entire school basically failed that exam. So he ended up dropping it for everybody because the professor couldn't finish the exam in time.
so
So yeah.
resetting for you is kind of stepping back and redoing it, but at a slower
I
pace.
took like a full day off too, where I didn't do any work, even though I had to do a lot of work. But I'm like, I can't right now. It's not going to be productive. So
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't ask you guys before we go to other questions. How many hours of studying? So we talked about pages of reading. How many hours of studying would you say you do a week? Ellen?
I say I have last semester I had a majority of my classes start at 9:30 a.m. and end at 10:50. I would go to class and I would have that morning to like myself. That morning part would be for me. And then after class, I would either go to the library or our student union where there's like Chick-fil-A, Qdoba,
Uh-huh.
Bunsen, which is a boba place, and I would study there, or I would go to the
Until how long?
library
I
till
want
midnight.
hours.
Hours?
Hours. How many
Hours.
hours?
Just
Many
hours.
hours? Okay. Brooke, how many hours would you say you're studying?
I don't know. I pretty much study as as much as I can. Like
Okay.
I take breaks, I go to clubs, I do other things, but mainly if I'm not doing anything else, I'm studying.
Brandon?
I'm gonna be honest I would say it goes up to about 50 hours a week.
50 hours a week, computer
I would
science.
agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because some assignments, I count assignments as studying because you're learning as you're doing it.
You're
I
doing
would
it.
have some coding assignments that would actually take up a lot of my time.
Okay. Niels, give me a number.
I'd spend probably about like 5 to 10 hours a week on assignments, and
Okay.
then 20 to 15 hours, like depending on the week, studying. then if I have an exam or if it's a finals week, like 50 plus hours, like my life's consumed. And on the studying topic, I'd even like make more time for myself if I know I have a big math exam. Like
To study, make more time.
I would make more time to study on that day before. Like, hey, like I'm gonna spend the whole day doing math. So I would like, I'm an adult, so I'm like, I'm not gonna go to these classes because I rather study for this math exam. It's my priority right now. So like that's how much studying I have to do. It's just insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a number.
Yeah, I said like 50 plus.
No, not
like
yours. I got yours.
And then,
I got yours, Neil.
Oh, sorry.
No, Keaton.
Same as Ellen and Brandon said, like a 50 hours, a few more hours. Like I live in the campus center.
Okay. So studying. Okay. I want our students to know it's more than what you're doing right now in high school. So Jenny, what other question? I know we're behind schedule.
Is it easy to find study groups? Are any of you in study groups? And is that a hard thing to put together?
Brandon, study groups?
My advice with study groups is do not study with friends, because whenever I do want to study and I do want to be productive, if I am studying with friends, I usually end up talking with them more than actually doing things that are productive.
So
So
study with people that are not friends but are in your class or something like that.
yes, I would say if you are going to form a study group, do it with the people in your class. Try talking to people. What my university would do is that they would advocate students to get in a group me, and usually somebody will set up the group me in the first day or two, and 70 plus students will be there saying, "Hey, I need help. I want to study. Can we set up a time where as many people here as possible can come to the library and make a group session where we could study for like 3 or 4 hours on this one topic?"
Okay. Jenny, another question?
Okay, I have one more. How much are your parents involved with your education or classes, or are you functioning completely independently?
Okay. Keaton?
Very much independent, but I have the support of my family. Like I'll call my dad and talk to him about what I'm doing and like what I'm going through, or my mom, but like I'm very much independent in my school life.
Brooke?
Yes, I definitely call my mom a lot, just to have that extra support sometimes. But other than financial, I'm on my own.
Okay. Niels?
Yeah, I'm just on my own with schoolwork, really.
Okay. Ellen?
On my own. I just call my mom when I fail a test and say, "Mommy, I need you."
Okay. So for support.
Yes.
Okay. Brandon?
Yeah, I will say very independent. I'll call my parents if I'm having a rough day, but yeah, college doesn't really talk to your parents about a whole lot of stuff that's going on. They'll talk to you.
Okay. Jenny, any others?
How do you overcome pushback from your professors, or how do you self-advocate?
So I think they answered that earlier.
I
Like,
answered that.
yeah, I think all of you use office hours. Everybody's shaking their head. Everybody uses office hours.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Because I think because high school teachers don't set that up the same way, even though kids can go talk to them. In college, it's almost, I tell my students at Briarwood, even if you don't have a real question, make up a question just to go talk to your professor so they'll put a name to the face. It is very hard for them to fail you when they get to know you personally and see your efforts. So I would say definitely do that. But I believe all of you said earlier you use office hours to self-advocate and to go talk to them. Any other questions in there, Jenny?
That's it. I think Laura has put some connections in the chat, some
Okay.
if you want to, some contact information for Briarwood or for IDA, if anybody's
Yep,
interested.
That's in there.
And our Night House is in there as well. So
Okay. Panelists, thank you so much for sharing. Great schools. So we got Texas Women's, Blackburn, is that correct? Am I saying it right? Blackburn, University of North Texas, McMurray, and Stevens Institute in New Jersey. Great institutions, great schools. Thank you for being a part of the panel for us. I know NIHouse appreciates it. Briarwood and HBIDA certainly does. And so thank you so very much. I know it was a long time us online, but I appreciate you guys very, very much.
Thanks, everybody. You guys were great.
All righty.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Thank
coming.
you.